Is everything okay? You doing all right? Maybe you're having a bad day, or maybe you just had a bad day recently. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to have a bad day once in a while. Our society seems to always want to be happy, but that's just not how life goes. I'm going to tell you how and why you should embrace a bad day. Welcome to Jared Talks. My name is Jared, and today I'm just a really eccentric dude. Eccentric meaning off center or just a bit crazy. Because today we're talking about embracing your bad day. Today's a Wednesday, hump day. Happy hump day to everyone. But maybe it's not so happy for everyone. Maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, and it's just been a bad day. You just wish this day would end, but it just keeps dragging on and on. I want to show you that maybe instead of wishing it would end, you might try embracing how bad your day is and help to turn it around. Kind of like confronting a bully only to find out that he or she is not so scary. I've done that once or twice. So let's get down to it. I want to throw some facts at you. So did you know that according to the CDC, 1 in 10 Americans age 12 or over takes antidepressant medication? Did you know that? And that's fine, okay? At the end of the day, if you are taking medication, it's working for you. I've known many people that take antidepressant medication. It's doctor prescribed. It seems to work for them. They do well with it. If that's where you're at, that's where you're at, right? I'm not telling you to jump off your medication. I'm just saying that 1 in 10 Americans age 12 or over take an antidepressant medication. That's a lot of people. I think it's estimated that about 400 million people live in the United States. 1 out of 10 take an antidepressant medication. Let's get into some other self-medication, and that would be smoking weed. Now, I used to smoke a lot of weed, so I got a lot of experience in this area. I don't anymore, though. It's a little different for me nowadays. I just can't do it. But 12% of Americans are active weed smokers. 22% of Americans aged 18 to 25 are active weed smokers. That's a lot. It's estimated between, I think, 40 and 55 million people smoke weed pretty much every day. 63% of Americans, adults that is, drink alcohol. Now, here's a mind-blowing statistic. The top 10%, that's 24 million people, drink an average of 10 drinks a day. That's basically 2 six-packs and a pint of whiskey. That's a lot, right? My question is, what do all these numbers mean, and how does this have to do with anything of you having a bad day? Am I saying roll up a joint, pour yourself a glass of wine, or, get a Budweiser and go to town? Nah, here's what I'm saying. There's a reason all these people are medicating themselves, whether it be self-medication or doctor prescribed, whether it be pills, both illegal and legal, weed, alcohol, all the other things out there, cocaine, heroin, all kinds of stuff. Here's the thought. Maybe they're just unhappy. Maybe they're just having a bad day, and that bad day spirals into another bad day, and another bad day, and another bad day. Maybe there's a way to overcome that bad day, or at least face it and deal with it, right? If you've ever been on Instagram and seen the smiling, beautiful faces and the amazing pictures and videos of people living amazing lives, You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, life is amazing. It's true, right? But by now, I think we've all realized that life isn't that amazing. And it's not like that every day. Life is more complex than that. It's ups and downs, it's heartache, failure, triumph, overcoming adversity, climbing to the mountaintop, and screaming at the top of your lungs, I did it! I think we can all agree on that. I think the more that we allow ourselves to say, you know what, life is not rosy-colored glasses. It's not easy. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. Nobody ever said that your life was going to be easy street every day and that you wouldn't have adversity. I think rarely are there people that don't face adversity. And I think my mom said, it's all in how you cope with things. I've heard many other people say something to the effect of, how is it that you deal with it? Right? We've all heard the idea that it's not the end destination, but the journey. Right? It's not who won or lost, but how you played the game. Life is a lot like that, really. You know, in sports and that kind of thing, it really is about who won or lost and how you played the game. It's all of that. But life is much more how you played the game, how you lived, what you did while you were alive, and your quality of life. When we come back, we're going to talk about doing just that, overcoming your bad day, and maybe, just maybe, learning to enjoy having a bad day every once in a while. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back. You're listening to the J.A.R.R.E.D Talks podcast. This episode is all about how to have a no good, miserably great bad day. All right, so I'm gonna get into a scenario now. So you woke up on the wrong side of life, right? Yeah, Furious. That's very true. And if you have not heard, actually, you can come and join the podcast live on twitch.tv/The J.A.R.R.E.D Show. And we have a chatter in here saying that's live. We were just talking about it in the break. Yeah, so I'm going to go through a scenario where you woke up on the wrong side of life. This is like a no good, terribly horrible day, right? So your alarm goes off on your phone. You reach over to turn it off and you see your boss called you into work on your day off. You grumble and complain your way through getting to the job that you're really not even that thrilled about having in the first place, only to get there and realize that you're short-staffed. What a fucking day this is gonna be, huh? You work your ass off all day through complaining people, idiot coworkers, and little problems that just seem to arise all day long. As you step outside to go home, it starts to rain. Figures, right? You get home only to find you have no food and you have to go shopping. At the store, your card gets declined and you realize you're going to have to make something out of whatever's in the pantry, which there's nothing in the pantry, so you're going to have to borrow some money just to eat until you have enough energy to deal with whatever the hell the problem happens to be. So you call your mom or a friend or whoever and you borrow $20. You head back to the store. As you ring up the frozen pizza, the cashier jokes, "Got enough money for it this time?" You feel like shoving the 20 down her, but instead you just kind of half smile, nod, and make the trip back home. As you sit eating your cheap frozen pizza, your internet goes right out at the end of the show you've been looking forward to seeing. I mean, who is Masha anyway? And why did she invite all these crazy people to this self-help retreat thing, right? Am I right? Have you seen that? Just wanting a sound to break up the chewing noises coming from your own mouth, you turn on the radio where Coldplay lead singer Chris Martin sings about being a has-been and how he used to rule the world, and now, not so much. You turn the radio off, cozy up with your favorite book, make some tea, and soon you're zooming through the pages and you reach the final page that's somehow not there. You try desperately to remember the end but can't, and as you lay your head down to go to sleep, you look back and realize, I just had a terrible day. Maybe one of the worst of my life. And, well, you might be right. But let's really look at it. You woke up in a bed, not under a bridge. You have a job, and being called into work means you'll probably earn more money since you weren't scheduled to work that day anyway. You worked your ass off, earned some money, and hopefully helped some people along the way. It started to rain after you got off work, and that helped with business because it's usually dead at work when it rains, and you know what? It sucks being at work with nothing to do. Someone was kind enough to help you out in your time of need and gave you the $20 you needed. And if you hadn't been so into your own little world thinking about shoving the 20 down someone's throat, you might have noticed that the cashier was actually hitting on you and wanted to share that frozen pizza with you at her place that has internet. Netflix and chill, anyone? And maybe find a different radio station, right? Viva La Vida isn't such a bad song, but not when you're down and out. You need something better than that. And as far as the book goes, aren't you in a book club? Didn't you all read that book? Why didn't you text a friend, or maybe more than a friend, and figure out the ending together? And again, you're laying your head back down in a bed, not on a cot in the middle of the Astrodome, because everything you've ever known just got washed down the drain along with everybody else's stuff, never to return again. Things can always be worse and can always get better. I know you might be saying, don't give me that positive thinking crap. I'm not in the mood. And while positive thinking and being grateful for what you have is one way to turn it around, maybe you don't need to turn it around at all. Maybe you should just embrace it. I found two paths that work for this side of bad days. So some people want to turn things around and some people just embrace it. If you want to embrace it, here's the first path I've found that works really well. Done it a couple times. The first one is to cry hard. Have you been dumped by someone you love? Put on a song that sums up your feelings and listen to it over and over and over. Feel that emotion. Embrace that emotion. Cry your eyes out. Scream to the heavens. Why me? Embrace that. Feel that. Go through that pain. This is known as the cathartic approach. Catharsis is the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong emotions, sometimes repressed emotions. So let it out. Play a song on a musical instrument if that's your thing. Watch a sad movie. Exercise. Talk. Play chess. Whatever you got to do, within reason, of course, then do it. If you get home from this terrible day and just as you're eating, the internet goes out at the end of the show, do a bit of yelling. Just make sure you're not, bothering anyone else too much. But find a healthy way to let out those strong emotions. Don't just bottle them up, right? Deal with that and look at it and face it head on. That's one way of doing things. Some people have not found a healthy way of doing that, and their anger overcomes them, or crying just doesn't release enough tension. And so I've found there's another way of doing things, and this is what I usually do when I'm having a bad day. I have to really have some really strong emotion to be able to cry. I've only cried a handful of times, I think, in my entire life. So, this is usually my way of dealing with things, is to embrace the absurdity of it all. You ever have one of those bad days where everything, I mean everything, seems to go wrong? Just like the fiction account mentioned a minute ago, where you're talking about where just everything. I mean, your card got declined, and got called into work, and it started to rain, and you didn't have any money, and you had to borrow money, and you had to do all these things. Here's the thing, that moment after getting to work on your day off and realizing that you're short-staffed and how crazy the day is actually going to be, that's a great, what I like to call, absurdity moment. I generally go in this direction after I realize I'm in the midst of a bad day. I tend to just accept it and watch it unfold with a childlike wonder and awe at just how bad it will get. These absurdity moments where you recognize, like, how bad is it really going to get? Like, how much more could possibly happen, right? You hit that moment of, like, this is so absurd how bad my day is going, that I call it absurdity moments. Like this moment that just snaps you out of the whole building a wall and going down the roller coaster, right? I think you get to a point when you have that absurdity moment, you kind of laugh, you kind of chuckle to yourself a little bit. Say, how many things can possibly line up to go against me, and how big the big bad day will get. I find it turns my day around, because instead of focusing on all the bad things happening, my focus has shifted to how immensely, colossally, hugely, crazy, enormously bad the day can get. And I realize that it could always have gotten, or can always get, worse. See, when you're waiting for something crazy bad to happen, right? Like, maybe you had a flat tire, but you could have been in a car accident. Maybe you're in a car accident, but somebody could have died. Like, it can always get a step worse, right? So when you're waiting for the step worse and that doesn't happen, right, it gives you this freeing, that momentum of bad things kind of all lining up all in the same time. Starts to become absurd. I mean, when it's, comedy, they call it a comedy of errors, right? Literally, it's so many errors that it becomes funny. Now, here's the thing. Having said all of this, okay, I want to add this. Sometimes you can't fix it. Sometimes you can't turn it around. Sometimes you can't be cheered up. You can go through the pain and try to cry it out, but that pain is deep. And a bad day can just keep going. Day after day, week after week. Here's what I want to let you know, okay? So if you're in that mode, or you've been in that mode before, you feel like you're going in that mode again, I think that's when you need to find help, okay? So you need to reach out to someone, ask for help, ask for a solution to your problem, ask for some support. Might I suggest God? I think that's a great, reasonable thing to reach out to when you're in crisis and time of need, especially mentally. But don't rely on one thing, okay? So maybe don't rely on just your friends and family. Don't rely on just, sitting and reading the Bible or whatever, or doctors. Don't rely on one thing. Try to rely on as many as you possibly can, right? I think as you're having this bad day, as you're dealing with all these things, you can recognize when it's a recurring theme, a recurring thing. Maybe something has triggered you and set you off, right? You can avoid those things. Maybe it's a particular store. Maybe it's a particular person you've talked to. Maybe it's a particular song that just throws you for a loop, right? Eventually, your bad day should subside. It should cease. It should fall by the wayside, and you should be allowed to have a good day, right? Now, what's amazing, what's the most fun I find, a lot of people call this joy. Depends on if it's euphoric or not, right? Got to be careful of that. But a lot of people call it joy when you can recognize you're having a good day and you feel good and you can recognize joy. I think that's one of the most special feelings. And I think maybe not a lot of people are capable maybe of recognizing that. I think a lot of people tend to be in the middle of things. right? So it's hard to recognize, like maybe when you're, a little bit depressed, and it's hard to recognize like when you've reached joy, right? So I think once you can recognize one of the other, you can recognize the other one, and be able to enjoy it. Like I say, man, at the end of the day, your dark days are not going to last forever. And if they've lasted for a little bit too long, it's probably time to seek help. And, I think first and foremost, we should seek help from those around us. Talk to your mom or your dad or your spouse or, whoever it is that is around you. Talk to them and say, hey man, I'm not doing okay. I need some help. These are the thoughts I'm having, these are ideas, and this is what's going on. But I think just in our society, where, if you add up all the statistics, people taking antidepressants, people self-medicating with drugs and alcohol and these kind of things, I'd say at least 80% are chasing something that makes them happy. That's a lot. I think while the United States is not the unhappiest country in the world, I think we're like 13th for the happiest or 14th for the happiest in the world. But I think there is a lot of unhappiness, a lot of unrest. There's a lot of things to worry about. There's a lot of things that we want to solve and not have to have us weighed down with. Money is one of those things. Relationships, all of these kind of things. And they're ongoing situations. Money is an ongoing situation. Relationships are ongoing situations. And I think they can put us in a mode where maybe, we had a fight in the morning, with our significant other, our spouse, and it just put us in a bad mood. And I always say, I think you need to be humble enough to allow people to cheer you up, right? So if you are having that bad day, and your coworker or your spouse or your kids or your whoever is noticing that, and they're saying, hey man, are you okay? Like, what's going on? You got to be humble enough to say, nah man, I'm not. Or you got to be humble enough and come outside yourself enough, right? So that when they crack a joke or they do something silly to make you laugh or whatever, you're capable of laughing and enjoying that, what they're trying to do for you. They're really earnestly trying to cheer you up. Sometimes I think it's us that has to be humble enough to accept that, and like I said, sometimes you just can't fix it. Sometimes you just can't turn it around. Sometimes you don't want to be cheered up. And when you're in that mode, you need to just state clearly to the people that are trying to do that, coworker, whoever, look man, I'm not in the mood, and hopefully that person will take a hint. A lot of people, I think some people are like, no, I'm going to cheer you up. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that. So hopefully they'll take the hint. But if they don't, so be it. You can deal with it. Like I said, I think in the society that we live in right now, where everybody's chasing happiness all the time, I think it's important for somebody to stand up and say, you know what, man, it's okay to have a bad day. It really is. I think with that, let's get into Q&A and some C. That would be questions and answers with some commentary. We do have some chatters, not lively at the moment. We get Furious in there talking about That's Life. We were talking about earlier. We were talking about the song That's Life by Frank Sinatra. One of the favorites on the channel that we listen to while we're playing chess and talking and hanging out. Like I said in the first episode, this is the second episode, if you would like to come and join this podcast live, you can come to twitch.tv/The J.A.R.R.E.D Show. You can also find a link in the description. Just click the link. You can go to jaredshow.com and pretty much everything will be there for you. All the social media and live stream and all that stuff. Podcasts as well. And I think once we get a little bit bigger and everybody's doing their thing and everybody's talking, this will be the spot where we have some Q&A and commentary and see what everybody has to say about the subject. But I am at a new time. I used to stream at 8 o'clock. I've been streaming at 7 o'clock, so I'm not sure that everybody's kind of caught up to that yet. So yeah, we'll just skip to the bottom line. And I think the bottom line in this one is we all have bad days, and that's okay. It's okay not to be cheery and chipper and smiling from ear to ear every day. It's okay to cry. Even if you're a guy, it's okay to cry. It's okay to yell and scream and want things to get better. Within reason, obviously. It's okay to feel sad and not want to be around people sometimes. It's okay to take some time for yourself every once in a while. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to have a bad day. Give yourself permission right now to have a bad day every once in a while. Just know that the way that you feel on that bad day will not last forever. Just like happiness doesn't last forever. It's a constant flow between both states of being. Also know that you are not alone. There are other people here to help you. You can call a friend or a loved one. You can tell someone on Twitch here if you want to, or tell someone else. You can... anyone. Okay? Just get some help and don't feel like you have to go through life feeling unhappy, miserable, and sad all the time. And remember that you matter. What you say, what you do, and what's going on inside of you, it matters. So don't take yourself lightly. Be humble, be strong, do good things. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening wherever you may be, and special thanks to all the chatters here watching the live stream. Thank you, viewers. Appreciate you. Again, if you would like to watch this podcast live and join in the discussion, you can go to twitch.tv/The J.A.R.R.E.D Show and jump right in. If you missed an episode, want more content, want to get some cool stuff, or just curious, you can go check out thejaredshow.com. There you will find the podcast, the store, and links to just about everything, including social media and this live stream that we're on right now. Speaking of live stream, we're going to keep things going, and we'll see you next time on J.A.R.R.E.D